welcome. It's me, Percita, and this is Percita's Paradox. So, hello. If you are new to this channel, thank you so much for joining me. If you are an original fan member from back in the day and you are still with me, thank you so much for your continued support. So, today, let's talk about it. And what I want to talk about is the simple dynamic of not wanting something more than the person who says they want it. And I can definitely say that. And I can say it on so many different levels, it's ridiculous. But I'm going to start and I'm going to use the angle of fitness as an attribute so that no one is taking anything personal or feeling as if they're being attacked. Because for the most part, you can take it that way if you choose. But I'm going to ask you today to not take it that way and to look at it from a perspective of how exactly should this work if you're trying to assist someone in helping them reach their goals. And at what point do you have to understand that you, as the person who wants the goal, has to work harder than the person who is assisting you? Now, that may seem deep, may seem super deep, and it is pretty deep. But I would say as a fitness professional, as a person who has been in the industry for well over 19 and a half years, I will be the first to tell you that I have run across this type of an individual more times than I'd like to actually speak about. And the funny thing about it to me is that they don't quite comprehend the fact that I am not there to make them reach their goal or to do anything more but to assist them in an attribute that has to be within them directly. Now you might say, well, what do you mean? Well, as a personal trainer, I can take on a client and the client can give me the dynamic of what they want to do. Lose weight, gain weight, add muscle, cut fat, sustain, learn to maintain mobility, flexibility, whatever it is, right? It is my then job to assist them in achieving those goals with the truth that they give to me as far as what they eat, their medical conditions, their emotional status, their financial status, and I can go on and on, but pretty much anything that I am giving is based off of the information that they've given me so that I can actually give them proper direction. If at any point in time they do not give me the proper information or they mislead me or don't quite give me all of the information truthfully or they're not authentic and honest in their efforts, it's going to be a little difficult for them to reach their goal. Now, I use it as an attribute because I notice a lot of times in life, we will have relations in some sense of work or family or whatever it is. And there comes a time when there is a person who says they want something and they want you to assist them in achieving what it is that they want. But they actually get upset with you when you're not giving them what they think they need. Now, let's go back to the fitness portion. I use that as an analogy yet again, because if I'm getting all the information that I need from the client, and the client is then executing as they say they will do, we should absolutely meet our goal. It's almost impossible to not meet the goal. But if at any given time, they're not executing their part of the story, but they expect the things that I'm giving them to allow them to have what I like to call hiccups or mishaps or misdirection or excuses, it makes it very, very complicated to reach the person's goal. I feel the exact same way when it comes to just general relations. If you are not in a position of willing to do the work and you think that the person that is there to assist you in any form, fashion, or another can actually execute it for you, and you become irritated when that doesn't happen and they're actually holding you somewhat accountable, that's when you should understand that the person's going to come with the analogy of, I can't want it more than you, meaning they cannot outdo your lack of effort. And it's very complicated to comprehend that when you're the person. I'm typically not that person. I'm typically the person who is continuously saying, because of course I'm in the personal training position, but just in most of my relationships, I'm usually the person who is saying, guess what? I cannot do this for you if you're not willing to do the work. And I have noticed through the years, and I used to get super resentful about it, the pushback the attitude, the I don't really care mantra, the, I do more for this person than the next person. And I'm starting to understand in all of my years of knowledge that it is literally something that is not for me to hold on to. And I'm speaking for the people like myself to say, at what point do we get tired? Well, I can tell you I've gotten tired. And I can tell you that I'm pretty much eliminating, if not have eliminated, everybody who would approach me from that angle, because I realize that they know me better than I know myself. Meaning, who else on this simple video that I'm sending out to you all can agree that you are a problem solver? Who else can say that you find yourself continuously trying to assist and help everyone, pretty much on any level, almost to the point where you will overextend yourself outside of your normal capacity, I can't even say the word, or capabilities, because you want the person to achieve, but somehow, some way, it gets thrown back at you that that's not what you're looking for. How many of us have experienced that or are currently experiencing it? I know I can raise my hand and I can say that it is a crazy thing when you find yourself being beat up because you're not willing to continue to do the work for someone else. And they then make you feel crazy about it. And I just figured I would come on and just explain it's the exact same attribute when you think about it from a personal trainer aspect. I can be standing right next to you as I'm giving you the exercise to do so that you and your body can see the results. But if you're not willing to do the work and then you're mad at me that I'm not willing to continuously do it with you so that you can feel comfortable in it, and that then would make you feel as if now you can't achieve it, there's no way for me to ever be okay with that or to be right in that or to ever be anything but the excuse that you use. And it is something that you would want to almost identify in a martyr sense, but when you use that word, it can get a little tricky. I don't know if I'd necessarily call the person or the client or however you want to look at it a martyr, but I would say that they're caught up in really not wanting to own anything by themselves. Prime example, have you ever been in a relationship and you're telling the person like these are the things that, would bother you, and then it becomes, you don't really get anything because you're always right and you're just telling me what to do. And a piece of you is like, who said that I was saying that I was ever perfect? I thought we were holding this conversation for you to get better. And if you want to tell me something about me getting better, that's cool, but this isn't the conversation. Have you ever had that conversation with someone like they're deviating from exactly what it is that you want to talk about at that moment because that's what you were talking about? Prime example again of what I'm saying. It's like a situation or a circumstance where instead of addressing what the actual problem is, whatever the now is, it's all over the place. It equates to me still saying it in regards to the client. If they're saying, hey, Percita, how can I actually reach this goal? And I'm like, I need you to understand that your body type is this, your activity level is this, and this is how much food that you can intake. Well, I don't really like to eat. Well, I need you to eat, right? Then they go and they eat everything but the things that I told them to eat. And then they come back and say, I did exactly what you said. I'm now eating more. And I go, well, what's the problem? Well, I've gained so many pounds or my body fat has changed. And I'm like, well, what did you eat? Well, it doesn't matter what I ate. I follow what you said and I'm eating. It's the exact same analogy. It's the exact same craziness of, I didn't tell you just to eat. I actually was telling you specifics and what you need to eat to achieve the goal. But it becomes some sense of an excuse level of trying to fight it within yourself. And I use that because I have heard the example, nothing wrong with anything more of that than the fact that it's not being owned as possessional for the person to just identify you're the problem. I've already done the work. I'm already fit. I've already gotten to a place. So if you don't achieve what it is that you want to achieve, it's strictly up to you. And I cannot do the work for you. When you find yourself in those types of relationships, you have to understand what that really is. It becomes toxic. And the toxicity is something that can be solidified. But the individual who is actually exerting that vibe, exerting that martyr mentality, that martyr, that martyr mentality, the woe is me, the no one wants to be there, the I'm so alone, the comparison between you and other people, you have to understand that that has nothing to do with you. And there's nothing about that conversation that you're ever going to win in, because you've done all that you can possibly do. So I'm hoping today that if you are either of these parties of persons that I'm speaking of, that you understand your role in the conflict, your role in the disconnect, your role in the issues at hand. People like myself have to stop and really understand that we can only do so much and just pause. For the person who is literally making the excuse, the client, you're going to have to really make an adjustment in your mind and understand that it's just not what you want yet. And until you want it to the degree that every waking moment of your life, that's what you're trying to achieve, whatever it is, be it weight loss, be it financial gain, be it mental health, whatever it is, you have to understand that you have to own that. That is your responsibility. No one can hold your hand through the process. We all stand alone when it comes to our personal efforts. And if you are misleading yourself by lying to yourself in that regard is where things get tricky. And for me, I never want to make a person feel, or I never want to allow a person to feel alone. So there's a manipulation that falls within that for a person like that, that understands that about people like myself, and they will milk it to the point of no end. You want to be conscious. You want to be conscious. You want to make sure that you understand that that toxicity is toxic. You want to understand that there comes a time and a place where you have to stand your ground and simply say, hey, I want to help you, but I'm not going to do the work for you. And stand in that and not be spoken into a manner of feeling as if you have to make them understand what you just said. Because here's the funny part. They completely understand what you just said, which is why they're making the statement back to make you feel the way you feel. I'll tell you again, people typically know your weaknesses before you even let on to the weaknesses because they watch your habits. And if you are a problem-solving person, then you, for the most part, will literally do exactly what I just said. And you'll jump in front and you'll make it all happen. Even in personal training, I've done that. And I've given more, and I've listened to more of the conversation, and I've given free sessions, and I've done all these things to try to assist clients to get to their goal. And guess what? They still never get to their goal. And they never get to their goal because they had no intention on getting to their goal in the first place. Maybe they wanted to enjoy the fact that they had a trainer, or they just wanted the status of saying, I should say that they had a trainer, but they really had no mindset in actually changing their body. They wanted to just look as if they were changing their body. And typically, those are the type of people that I'm telling you to be conscious of. And if you are that type of person, I am absolutely challenging you to ask yourself any goal that you haven't achieved, anyone that you have treated in that manner, and you know you have, and you've used their kindness for craziness of love for you, and you've used that word, love against someone you actually call yourself loving. Be conscious that at some point, things are not going to be as peaceful and as wonderful as you think they are. And when a person figures out that they've actually been abused, it's typically not good for either party. So I challenge you today to decide which personality trait that I'm talking about. Are you the personal trainer, or are you the client that is still making excuses? And fix whatever that is. If you're the personal trainer and that's the client that you have, it's time for you to walk away. It's time for you to give them that money back. It's time for you to wash your hands of the situation and understand that that is it. There's nothing else you can do. If you are the client, it is time for you to literally do the work, or understand that you get no results and blame absolutely no one, including your trainer, for your outcome. So hopefully that made some sense today. You know I enjoy my metaphors, my God, I really do. Because it's so hard for people to really think that it's an attack on them. And this is not an attack. This is simply a observation moving forward that we want to really deal with in understanding who we are in life and who we need to be in life. and just start the progression towards it. We are all seeking success. We're all seeking purpose. We all want to live a life that has some sense of meaning. And that is what this video is about. It's just assessing. It's a continuing of the renewing. And now that we have renewed, we have to assess. And every time we assess, we renew, and vice versa. It continues to go hand in hand with each other, backwards and forwards. We want to make sure that that is what we are doing. And again, that is what this video is for. So as usual, if you're confused on the renew, go back and watch the last video. I'll put a tag up so that you can actually just link right to it. And if not, then I'll prepare you to say, I look forward to seeing you next week. As always, have a wonderful weekend. Understand that I greatly appreciate all of your support. Continue to subscribe, continue to share, continue to comment, continue to just do you, because it is appreciated at Percita's Paradox. So thank you again. And as always, remember to do 3 things. Live life authentic. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful weekend, and I'll see you on Tuesday. Bye-bye.